My name is Hannah Spina, and I am the Development Director at Theatre Cedar Rapids. And I am thrilled to have the opportunity to share with you today a little bit about TCR and what we do. Together, we create the magic of live theater. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. So what is Theatre Cedar Rapids? We're affectionately known as TCR. We're a nonprofit community theater located in downtown Cedar Rapids. We are currently in our 86th season of shows, which is pretty amazing. However, I will say at the time of this recording, we are in the midst of coronavirus. And so it looks a little different right now when we're sort of switching to a virtual format with some programming, which is a great way that in theater, we have to remain adaptable. So we're just a new challenge for us to conquer. We were founded by the artist Grant Wood and several of his friends in the 1920s. So we have a long storied history here in the community. And as a community theater, that means that anyone is welcome to come and participate in shows as a volunteer. So all of our actors on our stage and all of our backstage crew, they are all volunteers, and they are there because they love to perform, they love to be part of the production, and they want to be there. They all have day jobs or they go to school during the day, and then they come and at night they have this other life as a performer or a crew member. So it's pretty amazing, and you don't have to necessarily have tons of experience or any for that matter to come and give acting or crew membering a try. We're a nonprofit, and part of that means that we rely on the generosity of local people and companies to make sure that we can sustain our business model and do what we do. So that is part of my job as the development director. I go and recruit people and tell our story and help them invest in us and what we do, and so we can be a resource for our community. All right, so a little about me. I'm the development director, and I've been in that position for a little over a year now, but I actually started working at TCR way back in 2011. But I've grown up in Cedar Rapids. I was born here, and my first foray into theater was as a summer camper when I was in second grade at TCR. And so for 5 or 6 years, every summer, that's what I did, was I went to theater camp and learned about acting and singing and dancing and all kinds of performing. And so I just really felt home there. I graduated from Washington High School in Cedar Rapids, go Warriors. And I continued my theater love there, and I was involved in the show choir, the drama department, and in music and the concert choir. And then I continued on at Loras College, which is a small private arts college in Dubuque, Iowa, where I got a degree in communications. And again, I was hugely involved in the theater program, minored in theater there, and came back to Cedar Rapids and started volunteering again at TCR, and eventually got a job and have been working ever since. And I've worked in ticketing, in fundraising, in education, and in production. So I've kind of done all of it, which a lot of people who work at TCR could say that they've done many different outlets that they're in theater. And I just, that's a picture of me in 7th grade volunteering in my first show at TCR, which was Your Good Man, Charlie Brown. So little youngin. And that's a great thing about TCR is you don't necessarily have to be a grown-up or an adult to volunteer there. We have lots of roles and opportunities for kids as well, for youth. So I just want to give you a quick little look into the Iowa Theater building. So we are in a historic building downtown in Cedar Rapids. It was built in 1928 as a vaudeville house and a movie theater. And so in the early 1980s, Theatre Cedar Rapids came in and took it over as its home. So it was renovated throughout the early 80s and opened in 1983 with a show called Name. We're so blessed to have this space available to us. It really sets us apart, in my opinion, from a lot of arts organizations in our region. You know, it's a beautiful, updated space. It was renovated after the 2008 flood. But it's also got this historical feel to it. There's a lot of grandeur. On the stage right now is a set for a play called The Humans. See, like it's got, the old chandeliers, and it's a beautiful space. Got great acoustics. It's a 550 seat house. So it's a nice size, but it's also still remains and has an intimate feeling, and you never feel like you're really far back from the show, which is a really special part of what TCR offers its patrons. So there are tons of different careers available in the theater. You don't necessarily have to be a theater kid in order to find a home at a theater. Had lots of coworkers in the past who have never wanted to act, never wanted to be on stage. That's just not their thing, but they still have a great passion for the theater and what we do. So of course, there's artistic and production side of things. Now it does help to have some interest in performing in order to work in that field. But those kinds of careers can be directing. We need someone to cast the show, to pick the people who will be in it, and to tell them where to move and where to go and what the whole thing's gonna look like. If they want the actors to feel really sad during this part or angry, I mean, they really are in charge. We also need actors. Now, like I said, at TCR, our actors are not paid. They are volunteers from our community. However, there are theaters all over the world that do pay the actors. They're more professional theaters. The only caveat is that those actors usually have a lot more training than some of ours. They've often gone to college for it, gotten special training classes. Maybe they have a resume and a headshot, which is just a fancy picture of yourself, really. And so we don't require that of our actors, but some do. So if acting is a career you might be interested in, you know, it's always good. You can use TCR to get some experience and to understand theater, and then maybe you want to go on and study it later on and be a professional. That is, we love hearing those kinds of stories that people got their start with us. Of course, there are writers in the theater, people who write the scripts, the shows, the music. We often do shows at TCR that have been published or well known, but we also do an underground new play festival where local playwrights submit their work and it might get performed in our space, which is really exciting and a great way to start your writing career if that's something that interests you. There are also stage managers who make sure that everything is running smoothly on and off the stage with the backstage crew as well. And I don't know how they do what they do. It's pretty amazing. So if you're organized and you like to tell people what to do, that's a great option for you. There's music direction. Maybe you're an instrumentalist, you can play in our orchestra. And we often need choreographers because we have dances in our musicals very often. So maybe you like to dance and you want to create a dance for the actors and tell them and then teach it to them. There's also a lot of design and technical skills that are needed in the theater. Costumes, sets, someone's got to design those sets and build them. The lighting, we are very fortunate in the last year or so, we've been really stepping up our game at TCR with our sets and our lighting design. And we are really proud of the product that puts out. It just makes it feel very professional. And so someone's got to know how to program those things, how to install the lights, how to set them up the way that they want them. So it's a lot of skills, sometimes in math and construction, a lot of hands-on kind of work. And if you like fashion, I mean, costume design is a great way for you to go. Of course, we also have education, and the education program is very near and dear to my heart because I started in the education program. It's so rewarding to teach younger generations about theater and the arts and what opportunities are there for them. And even just to see them come out of their shell, to not be as shy maybe by the end of the class or the camp. I've been able to teach at TCR, and it's probably my favorite thing to do. I love my job now, but I also really love teaching. It's just such a cool, especially when you get to be very specific about theater and arts and those kinds of instructions. Then there's what I do, which is fundraising. A lot of that is event planning. We plan fundraisers. We have an annual spring fundraiser. It's a fancy luncheon. It's themed around a show. So that picture's from a Peter Pan themed luncheon, which was so much fun. And I get to meet a lot of people, build a lot of relationships, and invite others to be a part of TCR's story. So I get to tell a lot of stories, which you might not think about that with fundraising, but I really do feel like a storyteller most of the time. So that's a really neat part of my job. I also do a lot of writing. I have to write what are called grant proposals. So there are organizations around the country that want to help arts organizations like TCR by giving them funds. And so, but you have to apply, you have to ask for it, and you have to tell a story about why your organization needs those funds and what you're going to do with it. And so I do a lot of writing and telling our story that way. There's also marketing. That's a pretty popular one that people are interested in. And this is, I mean, it's a crucial area of the theater. If we don't market our shows, if we aren't telling people about what's going on at the theater, that there are classes, that there's this happening, then no one will come. And it's not fun to perform in front of an empty house. So you want people in the audience, so we got to sell those tickets. And part of that can be graphic design, photography, communication, sending out emails to tell people what's going on. Our current marketing director gets to set up photo shoots for our actors to help promote the shows, and she comes up with props in different locations. And it's a really fun area to work in. And really, most of these, you don't have to actually be on stage or want to be an actor or anything like that to be able to work in the theater. And then we also have, of course, the administration side. So like our executive director, who makes sure that all the areas of the theater are functioning properly and we're all working toward the right goals. We have to have someone who's looking at our financials and making sure that we're bringing in income and as how we're expending our resources. And of course, the box office. The box office is like the nucleus of the theater. I mean, it's so important. Everything goes through there. A ticket sale, donations, people getting interested in what we're doing and wanting to know more about it. They're the front line there, the box office. So they are huge. They work with people all the time, kind of customer service sort of role. So there's tons of different opportunities. I can't stress it enough that you do not have to be, a theater nut in order to work in the theater. You just have to have a passion and a drive for a certain area, although it does help to have an appreciation for the arts, I will say. So what makes working in the theater so great? Well, TCR in particular is an extremely flexible organization. They understand that we all have lives and families, and that work can't necessarily be the number one thing all the time. So if you need to come in late on a day and then work later another day, that's fine. Everyone's super friendly and fun. I mean, we're a pretty small staff. We're about 10 full-time people, so we're very close knit and we really look out for each other. It's fun. It's very fun. All those departments I was just talking about, I will say I've worked in just about all of them. I mean, I've never been the technical director or built the whole set or anything, but I've helped paint it. I've helped hang curtains and set pieces. I've helped with the marketing, because we are all in it together, and so we all pull together to help whenever needed. It is a pretty relaxed environment. I don't have to dress up super fancy most days to go to work, and we have fun and we joke, and it's rarely dull. I mean, you never know in the theater what you're going to be doing. I mean, one day you're bringing in those giant bells from the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and the next day, is more sitting at your computer and emailing, but it changes all the time. If you're a creative person, the theater is an excellent place for you. You get to exercise your creativity all the time. Even those who, like me, who I work, in fundraising, which we would call more of an office kind of administration job. I mean, I get to decide, we're going to make little vials of pixie dust for a prize that we can give away. And how do we make those? And what are they going to look like? And so there's all kinds of opportunities to be creative in every area of the theater. And you meet so many different people, all the volunteers, the patrons, donors. I've made a lot of great relationships with people who work in different companies here in Cedar Rapids and in the corridor, who are invested in what we do. You get to meet so many different kinds, and artists tend to be, they just are all different, and it's super fun to work with different people. And for me, working at TCR is definitely a labor of love. It rarely feels like work because I care about it a lot, and I feel blessed that I get to share that every day with others. So it's definitely, for me, it's a passion, and I think most of my coworkers would say the same thing. So what education experience do you need? It really depends on what you want to do, but for just about every position in the theater, I would recommend a 4-year degree at a college or a university after high school. It could be in a variety of things, though. It could be my degree is in communication. It could be in art, or maybe specifically directing if you know that's what you want to do, or in acting if you know you want to try and be an actor. There are degrees in theater administration, actually. And some roles will require an advanced degree, meaning after you go to college, you might need to go get a master's degree, like in directing or administration, in technical theater, so you know how to build these sets or to design them. But there's really no one clear path. For instance, our costume designer, her degree is in art history. So, it just depends on your life experience sometimes when it comes to theater and what other skills you have. Like if you think you want to go into costumes, I'd start learning how to sew, that kind of thing. I will say that no matter what, you want to have, work on your skills in reading, writing, and public speaking, because those will carry you very far. And in the theater, you have to be able to read, and reading comprehension is super important. Read the script and understand what's going on. If you're the set designer, you've got to read that script and know where it's taking place and what is necessary to have on that stage to transport the actors and the audience to where that story is being told. So those are the things I would definitely recommend. And speaking is just, a great, telling the story. Math can be helpful in certain areas, particularly in technical theater areas, but it's never been my strong suit. So, and like I said before, an appreciation for the arts and theater is certainly helpful. If you at least enjoy going and understand how it can be important to create a community that's vital by having a good art scene, that's really going to get you far too. And you learn so many other skills working in the theater, from how to be a good public speaker to, building your confidence being in front of other people. Computer skills, whether that's Office Suite and Excel and things like that, or, InDesign and Photoshop for marketing. You build relationships, learn how to tell stories, think creatively, and problem solve, and be adaptable. That is something you will see. Even if you're just observing or in a rehearsal at TCR, you will see how things have to change and adapt. Oh, that costume change isn't going to work. It's too fast. So how do we fix that? Great for problem solving. So even if maybe you intern at TCR, you might learn some things that will definitely carry you in another career as well. So the best advice that I can give you right now is, if there's something you're passionate about, and it may be theater or the arts is one of them, find a way to get involved. My story is that I started volunteering for the TCR in the box office in the summer of 2008, right before the flood hit. And I was a sophomore in college at the time. And instead of, just being like, oh, guess I'm not volunteering, I started going in every day, basically having a part-time job that I was volunteering for. But I learned so much. I got to know the staff. I learned about our ticketing program. I mean, it was a hugely transformative summer. And fast forward to when I graduated college, they actually reached out to me and offered me a job at the theater because I had learned so much. They knew I was fun to work with and that I could get the job done. And if it hadn't been for that summer, I think I can honestly say I wouldn't be in the job I am now, because that just helped build so many blocks for me in terms of creating a legacy at TCR and learning more and more. And now I can do what I do. So if there's someone do research, ask them about it, see if you can volunteer anywhere, maybe get an internship. I just can't stress it enough. Whether it's theater or something else that you're passionate about, find a way to get involved as soon as you can, because it will take you a lot of places. And then, so we would love to have you come visit us. You can visit our website at theatrecr.org. We've got lots of volunteer opportunities. You can find out more about those there. You can maybe reach out and talk about an internship if you'd like to. And please feel free to email me directly, hannah.spina@theatrecr.org. I'm more than happy to either answer your questions or to point you to the person that you want to talk to about a specific area of the theater. We want students to get more involved at TCR. We're constantly looking for new faces, and we want to share our experience with you as much as we can, and we want you to be part of our story. So we'd love to see you at the theater when we can gather there again. And I just want to thank you for this opportunity to share with you what I do, what TCR does, what live theater can mean to a community. And I hope sincerely that I see you all very, very soon at TCR, where we can continue to create the magic of live theater. Thank you.